What's going on, family? It's your boy General Africa. I want to do a quick response video to my brother Dilltown. If you haven't subscribed to him already, please do so. He stays on point, and he brings a lot of great information out there. So please subscribe to that brother's page because he's staying on code and staying on point. Anyway, my brother Dilltown, he posed the question about why are black people being targeted unfairly for the presidency of Donald Trump. And he talked about many important things. He brought a lot of great points to the table about how more white women voted for Trump than Hillary Clinton, but they're not being blamed. How a large percentage of the Hispanic community voted for Trump, and they're not being targeted. He brought up the Asian community. If you didn't know, the Chinese community, the Chinese demographic are one of the most, they have the lowest turnout among all groups in this country. And the reason for that is because they realize that as long as they pool their resources, as long as they work together, as long as they have control of their communities economically, they really don't need to vote in presidential elections. Now, I don't know their voting record when it comes to their local communities and the politicians closer to them. But when it comes to the election of a president, they don't go out to vote, really. When you talk about topics like these, you always have to start with the fact that black people are living in a system of white supremacy in this country. We're living in a Nazi state, so we're going to be blamed regardless. Dilltown talked about how 88% of the black community voted for Hillary Clinton and how we're still being blamed. Well, see, we're going to be blamed for everything, whether or not we had anything to do with it from the get-go. I mean, if you look at the media, we're blamed for every unarmed black person gunned down by police. What does the media do? They go into that brother or sister's track record. You know, if they could, they go into how was that black person as a child? Was he a bad child? Was he a good child? They'll do anything. They've gone through the bottom of the barrel. They're digging to the ground now. When it comes to the ills facing the black community, it's always, well, it's about culture, right? They go into the black culture. They go into, well, what happened in the house, what's going on in the households, where are the fathers? But they never look at the systematic policies that created that situation and still contribute to it today. See, in order to right the wrongs and to fix the problems taking place in the black community, you have to look at the history behind what created that situation in the first place. And I'll probably go into that deeper in another video. And that really began in 1964 under Lyndon B. Johnson. But see, you always have to start with that. You always have to start with white supremacy. You never steer away from that point. Never get off that topic, because that is the catalyst of everything, not just criticism facing the black community. See, black people, by and large, well, I wouldn't say by and large, but a large percentage of the black community has come to the conclusion that the Democratic Party is pimping us. Now, I'm no Republican. I don't deal with that political spectrum. I deal with who's working for black people, who's going to give us what we need. So I'm not telling any black person out there to go vote Republican like Stephen A. Smith. That's bullshit. See, black people are beginning to realize that the Democratic Party is just the other side of the coin of the Republican Party. They don't care about black people either. And we're starting to realize that, at least when it comes to presidential elections, none of these people are going to do anything for us. And many of those same black people are starting to realize that, well, maybe if we don't vote in the presidential election, because none of these candidates are going to do anything for us, maybe if we vote locally, like the one LVZ said, maybe that'll do something. And many black people are doing that. Now I'll go into all the different ways that Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton have worked against the black community in another video. But in this video, I'm going to touch a little bit on the Democratic candidates that were running today in this year's election. See, Hillary Clinton is a very clever politician. She's very conniving. And black people realize that she's just another side of the coin when it comes to Donald Trump. She might not explicitly talk about targeting black people and establishing nationwide stop and frisk. But black people realize that she's not going to do anything specifically to stop the oppression of black people. I mean, we had 8 years of Obama. We had 8 years of a black attorney general, and that didn't stop the senseless and rampant killings of black people, unarmed black people by the police. See, I was a fan of what's his name, Bernie Sanders, and many black people are fans of him also, and Jill Stein also. But even I have my problems with those two politicians because none of them said anything specific in regards to what they would do for the black community. In regards to the police killings of black people, Jill Stein and Bernie Sanders would talk about, well, we need communication training and de-escalation training. Well, in 2006, the FBI put out a report. They put out a memo that white supremacist groups were infiltrating law enforcement, what we would call race soldiers. You don't de-escalate a race soldier. A race soldier escalates a situation purposefully. A race soldier doesn't need communication training. So that's what turned me off about Bernie Sanders. But I would have took that. I would have took him over Hillary and Trump any day. I would have took that for now. See, what we need to realize is that Obama has passed specific legislation for the Hispanic community. He has passed specific legislation for the Native American community. He has passed specific legislation for women. But when it comes to black people, it's, well, he can't do this, he can't do that. And these little symbolic victories that do nothing for us. So we woke up and many of us didn't vote for him. I'm sorry, for Hillary Clinton. So we're going to be blamed for these things because we're going to be blamed regardless. What we need to do as a people is stop worrying about what these bedwenches, what these coons, what these white supremacists say, because at the end of the day, all we can do to fix our problems is pull our resources and stay on code. When George Zimmerman and then these other race soldiers started gunning down black people, innocent black people, what did the white supremacists of the dominant society do? They started giving money to those people. They started funding these organizations that actively worked against the black community, to suppress the black community. And that's what we have to do. We have to stay on code in regards to that. Because these coons will always work against us. These white supremacists will always work against us. The racist white media will always work against us. What we have to do is we have to worry about ourselves, and we have to do the things economically to empower ourselves, because no one in the dominant society is going to support us. We have to lobby, create black lobbying groups, and make sure that our local politicians are held accountable. We have to start demanding, what are you going to do for the black community specifically? And if they start tap dancing and start talking about minority this and minority that, leave them alone. Because a lot of people talk about affirmative action, but what they don't realize is that the great majority of the beneficiaries of affirmative action are white women. And then that money, those benefits that are awarded to those white women, are in turn given to their families. So we have to start demanding, what are you going to do for us? The Japanese were given reparations. The Native Americans were given reparations. The Irish were given reparations. Look up the freedom dues. Many groups of people, quote unquote minorities, have been given reparations except us. And we need to start demanding that. So those are a few things that we need to focus on if we want anything to be done in regards to the upliftment of our people. This is your boy General Africa. I'm out.